Hi, hello, and welcome. I guess we're live
Hello.
today, right now. Hi, hello.
Hello.
My name is Łukasz Pietrucha. I'm an interim engineering director at Netguru, and today we're here to answer, well, maybe not a simple, but one question: who is the new AI-powered professional? So I'm joined by three distinguished experts who are at the forefront of AI integration in various sectors. And as AI continues to reshape our landscape, it's here and there and everywhere. We're going to try to explore how it's transforming things around us. So, roles, skills, maybe the very nature of work across different industries. Together with me here today are Jakub Bares, Generative AI Strategist at World Health Organization. Hello and welcome, Jakub.
Hello.
There's Caroline Ohlsson, Data and AI Director at Verdane. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. And Marco Brambilla, CTO at Shopfully.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, it's a pleasure to have you all here. I'm really eager to hear out your thoughts and have an interesting conversation. Without further ado, let's start. As AI powered tooling is present everywhere, it's gaining hype. It's gaining interest, and we're trying to adopt it in our professional life. You surely see some impact in your organization, in your current companies. What are those effects? What are the impacts that you are currently seeing? When we chatted earlier, I think Caroline, you had some interesting thoughts about it. So maybe you'd like to start.
Yeah, sure. First of all, I'm representing private equity, so Verdane, part of having kind of 150 companies in the scale-up phase in our portfolio. So I'm supporting those companies on their journey. So good to kind of get the context of what I'm going to share here today. I think we're seeing across our portfolio companies that are eager to get going and not only get going, but put it into production and move beyond experimentation. I think many of us are used to kind of experimenting nowadays with AI, but taking it from on the desktop type of experiments to actually including it in your offerings or actually getting it included in your workforce. That's the kind of next steps that companies are constantly looking for. We have some examples from the portfolio where companies have really succeeded and are in kind of a more of the forefront, I would say, both scaling into production and putting out some new offerings to the market in the industries that they are in. We had a quite fun event this morning with our portfolio companies on agentic AI, where we basically had kind of two AI agents joining the chat, taking notes and representing some of the C-suite leaders of our portfolio companies because obviously they couldn't attend themselves. So I think we're seeing, more embeddings within the companies. And then what I'm heavily pushing is to address this as a kind of leadership responsibility and for the leadership teams in our companies to take full ownership of setting an agenda, setting a vision, and making sure that they act upon a roadmap and not seeing this as, a scary tech topic, because I think that is the background we're coming from with, whenever there's a tech question, we look at the CTO and we kind of want that person to kind of be in charge and chip in. But here I really believe that everyone needs to chip in everything. Everyone needs to understand that this is a business strategic question, and you don't need to be that technical to kind of set the agenda and lead in a successful way with an AI embedded strategy into it. So we have a company as an example with a former lawyer who was basically promoted to becoming the kind of AI rock star, and she's now the chief innovation officer or chief product officer from a week back, where she basically is leading all of their initiatives. So that's quite fun to see.
Right, right. So essentially, it's really about trying to understand what's the value, right, of applying AI into our daily duties, because experimenting is easy, right? I think what most companies are struggling with is to understand, okay, what's exactly like we can do about it. Like, is it only chatting with just a language model and getting some answers, maybe on bouncing off some thoughts, or maybe there's something deeper, maybe there's something there with all the agentic things that are happening right now, right? We're trying to do even more, so kind of like sublet part of our work to something that can autonomously do parts of our duties without even us being involved, maybe just with a little oversight from time to time, but without heavy workload to achieve the results, right? Any
Right.
thoughts, gentlemen? Anything from your companies where you're seeing? Because I'm trying to understand. We're saying a lot. Okay, it's moving into this. Take it from experimenting to something that gets integrated. But how do we do that? I mean, is there a secret sauce? Is there anything? Maybe any early signs when I'm seeing a tool or a solution that is AI powered? How would I know if this actually brings value, if this is something feasible, this is something I can use repeatedly, and try to incorporate it, and it actually helps, and I don't know, it reduces times, costs, or whatever other positive impact it might have?
Well, I mean, in WHO, we are trying to proceed step by step, but we are really fully committed. We already have about 10 projects under our belt, and we are implementing it really across the board, acquiring information, storing it, retrieving it, using it to generate new content, then reviewing that content, right? Like, essentially, WHO is an organization which is like 100% knowledge organization, and everything we do means that we work with some kind of documents that are behind our decisions, and we essentially produce a lot of content for the world to consume, and we guide them. We guide them with our content, right? We guide them with our recommendations. Essentially, that's essentially what we do. And so obviously there is immense opportunity everywhere. And as I said, we have already 10 projects which have been successfully completed. This doesn't necessarily mean that it's like, as you mentioned, fully automated, or that it's something complex. Actually, we've been working a lot with simple, copilot agents. Something as simple as that can actually work very well in some use cases. For example, when you want to, I don't know, like analyze invoices, and you want to translate them, and you want to get the correct information from it, right? And you want to process it. That's actually quite easy to do with a Copilot agent, right? We have also logic apps, where there are some flows where you upload a document to SharePoint, and it gets automatically, translated to something else. We have some Word add-ons, which allow us to dynamically modify documents and get feedback from AI. We have also some custom-built apps. We have chatbots, which are quite sophisticated in the flow, where we guide the user step by step through some kind of really complex methodological work. So now we are even in front of the task to really do a thorough workshop with 100 people department, right? Like to actually be really creative. And we have assembled a list of quick wins. I can maybe send the link to the conference attendees if they are interested. It's on my blog, where I have come up with like a architecture of quick win solutions, which we are now implementing in WHO. And we are essentially trying to explain to the people how do they work, what are they about, why are they useful, what can they do. And then we want them directly to tell us, here is what we do, here is what we need. We think this might be useful. We might want to try this, And
out of curiosity, are you putting it more in the like research and development area, or are you making it sort of mandatory or half mandatory for your teams to start experimenting with AI powered tools? How did you get to the level where you are?
The effort started about in October when I started working for WHO. That's when we started doing first projects. And it was originally really software based. We created new software, more complex stuff. But then we actually figured like a recipe for super easy quick wins, which we are now able to get to hundreds of departments, very very quickly. So we are really trying to push for the simplest solution available. We are very cost oriented, obviously due to the situation which you might be familiar with, right? USA leaving our organization. So there are cuts across everywhere, and therefore now we are working with a lady from the, I shouldn't maybe mention the department, but her department has been slashed to one person, right? And she is totally dependent on us right now. So
right. Any other impacts that you have in your organizations? Because you said you see some gains, like speed things up, maybe cost reduction, maybe any other things that you see. How is it changing, your daily landscape? Are people trying to experiment with AI powered tooling on a daily basis? Is it more like a hype, or Marco?
No, definitely it's not only hype, it's also substantial. Let's say it's definitely productivity gain in situation where you have to go from 0 to 1. Right now, the models are very good, but they're not quite yet, let's say, sophisticated in the also in the reasoning models. Sometimes are somehow needing your help in going forward with the work. So what you have now is like a jagged frontier. Some tasks that used to be complex are now very simple. Summarize a document, or give me a transcription of a meeting. And on the other hand, some tasks that are quite simple for humans are incredibly complex for an AI to do still. So we are in this situation where we don't have a map of the use cases that we can unlock and leverage. So experimentation is the key, of course. But I think in the end, this model will catch up with the complexity that we have, and they will solve most of the use cases. And this is just part of the growing pains. Or we will get better at feeding information in a structured way, and feeding information in a way that augments our productivity leveraging AI. I also see a risk here, which is, when it's easy to create a one-page document, then everybody creates a one-page document for everything. And also you need to be careful to monitor the signal-to-noise ratio in your company. Because I started to see this sometimes in emails that used to be straight to the point now are very verbose, and we need to be mindful of value created very much.
True. Yeah, there was this popular meme flying around, right? That there was this guy who was prompting AI saying, okay, write me an email out of those 5 bullet points. And then on the receiving end, there was someone, okay, let me just summarize it with AI and pretend I understand everything and I read it, right? So it was like created by AI and then read by, by AI essentially. And as you say, it might create a lot of noise and maybe even overcomplicating things somehow when they don't need to be overcomplicated, right?
As Caroline was mentioning, we need to be mindful of value creation always.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But then on the other hand, around the thing that you mentioned, I see more and more of those conversations when people start asking, okay, did we try to tackle this particular challenge or topic with AI assisted tool? Maybe that can help us, right? When we are trying to figure something out, I don't know, maybe do a reach out campaign in marketing or something. And then at some point, someone suggests, oh, maybe we can try to use AI for that. Maybe it will help us, and we start experimenting, so that also drives innovation, right? And we're looking for more creative ways, so there's a positive effect obviously as well. All right, so yeah, well, you mentioned a lot of different examples, all of you, that companies are trying to experiment with it, they are incorporating it, looking and searching for value that comes out of it. But what we also see, and we spoke about it in some previous chats and previous disruption forums, that there might be also some sort of resistance, right? People are used to the way of work. Well, we have some processes or maybe some places that are not really well adjusted to be used with AI, because we spoke about it on a different panel, that whenever you want to start with using some AI powered tooling to your benefit, first of all, you need to have your data sorted out and well managed, right? Because well, we all know that saying, garbage in, garbage out, right? So my question would be to all of you, and feel free to jump in as you wish. How do you infuse those AI-powered tools in the existing setups? How to overcome hurdles? How to make sure that we are not losing anything, and we're moving the right direction when trying to incorporate AI-powered tooling?
Yeah, I could perhaps start. Like how I approach it with our companies is, I think it helps a lot, including the organization early on in the discussion, and talk about, I mean, what are the pain points that you see in your processes and functions today, and where are the spots where we are basically not meeting our customers' expectations, like where are we having an offering that is not sufficient enough today. So like including those people early on to kind of have the buy-in, and like also kind of including them to nominate their own ideas. I heard about a company that was basically asking their employees to submit ideas for kind of a boring task list. Basically, we all have like tasks in a day that we believe are not that kind of, I mean, am I really getting paid for this, doing this task? I mean, nominate those stuff into a boring task list. And then you have, I think, a bunch of efficiency use cases already that you can start working with. And you also have buy-in from the actual business to kind of get working on it. So some part of the change management journey is almost, handled by just including them early on. So I think that is, one way of doing it. And then I also think if we look at, that efficiency part is one thing, and like offerings might be another thing, but just looking at kind of, okay, if we think about our business 5 years ahead, what does that look like? What's the market looking like at that point? How might we be disrupted by AI?
Right.
And what does that mean for us here and now? So basically backtracking it to where we are today and what we should do based on that.
Yeah, and this question keeps coming back, right? The one about, will AI replace my current job, or is there something that it might enhance? Maybe I can get better at something. Maybe there are some parts, as you said, of my daily duties that are actually quite mundane, and I can just hand it over to a tool, and it can be done just kind of automatically, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think from my side, sorry.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. So from my side, I think number one factor is culture, right? Like I have been in many organizations before, about a dozen, and WHO is the first organization which is closest to the political spectrum of doing things, but they are completely apolitical inside how it works internally, right? Like people are extremely professional, extremely humble, extremely honest, extremely friendly, right? And everybody is 100% professional, where they never try to obstruct some kind of progress just because of personal desires or reasons or needs. Like, never happened to me yet. So this is the biggest reason why we are successful implementing stuff successfully, because there is 100% commitment to do this. There's 100% commitment to do everything as easily and as professionally and as simply as possible. And therefore, we have essentially no trouble, turning people over. We don't need to turn people over. Like, whenever we have a use case, people actually come to us for help. We are sought after as somebody who is gonna help the department do things better, right? And that's the spirit of the effort. So without that, I cannot imagine doing this job, actually. And from history, working in Czech companies before, I think this is the number one factor of whether it's going to be success or not.
So essentially, what you're saying is to create a culture where we're saying people, it's not forced or anything, but it's to help the organization spot the spaces where it actually makes sense to have it AI powered, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Right,
I
nice.
totally agree with Jakub here. It's a lot. It's about the environment, the context you're in. You need to create a situation where disruption can happen. So you need to accept good enough solutions. You need to give people access to the tools. You need to give people access to data. And this situation of disruption might create some friction with the teams and with the people working with you. But these are usually pre-existing frictions that are brought to the surface by these changes. So I think. There's also, let's say, freedom to experiment that has to be somehow sponsored by the management and even by the leadership of the company. So people will feel free to work with this technology. Also, it's the very first time that I see a technology so immediately accessible to everyone. And so this is even better than smartphone, because you talk to it, right? So you don't need any special training. It's very intuitive, and so it's a big opportunity to leverage the collective intelligence inside the company.
Right. So the learning curve is not that steep, right? It's quite short, and then we can just multiply the effect, right? It creates a huge synergy, as I hear you. But yeah, on the other hand, as you said, if there are problems underneath, probably, well, it happened in the past, right? When we used all sorts of automating stuff, whether it was, automating infrastructure setup or automating, I don't know, testing or anything else. If there were problems underneath, we just got them like multiplied and faster reaching the surface, right? So it's probably even faster and even stronger right now in the current reality, I would say. All right, so to sum it up, it's all about creating an environment where it's actually encouraged, when we empower people to use it and to search for ways where it actually helps and it makes sense. Simple as that. But as we do that, probably our engineers are gaining some new skills. Do you see any new skills that professionals around the world need to develop to work alongside AI? Is there anything that appeared, maybe there was something that surprised you along the way?
Right, I think like, not obviously it's a very obvious answer what I'm gonna say, but this so-called prompt engineering is the number one thing that everybody now needs to be able to do. It's gonna be the future of humanity, sort of, where we're gonna communicate with either our personal AIs or with some commercial or with some company AI, whatever. Everywhere we're gonna communicate with AI some way or another. And I think it really shows whether you know what you want, right? Hopefully in the work context, you should know what you want, right? And you should know what is good enough. You should know what is the right answer. You should know how should the outcome look like. You should know what is the end goal, why you do it, what is the context. You should know everything. And if you are not able to describe this, then you are never going to be successful with AI. And you are never even going to be able to evaluate if you actually did the right thing or not. So I think it really shows how professional people are, and how clear cut answers they have in what they do. And that's the number one thing, and it's really as simple as that, I would say.
From this perspective, there are many voices that because of that, AI-powered tooling is, let's say, more helpful for people with more experience, for more senior-ish roles, for senior developers. Do you agree with that? That right now, it's if you're fresh into engineering, if you're junior, you won't benefit from it as much as a senior engineer would. Would you agree with that?
I think I saw some statistic that there's like a 10,000 times difference between the best developer in the world and between the worst developer in the world. And I think something like that applies here as well. That essentially, if you are really knowledgeable of what you want, how should it look like, what is the insight that you are bringing to the debate, then you're going to be like maybe 1,000 times more successful than somebody who doesn't know what they want. So obviously there is this kind of logic. At the same time, I would say with the right setup in the company, you can actually make junior people very like media or senior people very quickly, because you can give them all that knowledge that has been there in the company previously. And you can teach them very, very quickly with AI to get that knowledge faster. So, yeah.
But it doesn't mean we're dropping anything, right? It's still like we need to be knowledgeable about software engineering craft in general.
Yeah, I think the domain knowledge skills that you are talking about here, Jakub, that is like not going away, because you need to have kind of be able to critically reflect upon the output that you get from like the AI solution in place, and kind of verify that this is actually correct, because we know that AI hallucinates, and we know that there is mistakes done. So if you don't have that, I mean, I cannot sit and ask questions related to like asking for kind of some lawyer opinions and kind of verify myself, because I'm not a lawyer. But so I think like we will need those domain experts, and I think that is the whole debate about seniority and the need for kind of experience to be able to back it up and have that critical thinking in a natural way.
Yeah, correct.
One way of putting it that I think it's helpful for people approaching these tools is you are working with an alien mind, and you have two skills to master. One is you have to teach the alien mind and teach him it, I don't know, to do whatever you want to do. And also you want to learn how to learn from the alien mind, because there's such an amount of knowledge in there that you can benefit. I'm not a lawyer, but I can ask to explain the why and what and where of a contract, and to simplify for me and to explain like I was a 5-year-old child. So I think there's also a lot of opportunities that Jakub was mentioning for more junior people to actually get more knowledge, not experience, but more knowledge in less time.
Right. Caroline, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, just final words. I think maybe we have to also unlearn what we have sometimes learned when it comes to technology, because it's not about communicating on the language of technology any longer. It's actually taking back what we have as humans. I mean, I think to some extent, yes, prompt engineering is super important, but also just like it's actually about communication. And I think we will see that even more with AI agents, that we kind of communicate in our own language and it's about making sure that the AI understands what you are intending with the communication, and that will be even more important than searching for keywords, as we have learned for Google as an example.
Right. Well, the whole searching for it and looking for information paradigm is kind of shifting a little bit, right? So yeah, all right. To wrap it up and to sum it up, we tried answering who is the new AI-powered professional, and you obviously all said that you see the effects of applying AI-powered tooling in your organizations. There are some gains here and there. We use it extensively, but we can only use it whenever there's an environment created that actually allows for that, right? That actually empowers people to experiment with it, to try it out, and to always remember that we are working alongside AI, but it's not replacing us in any form, at least not right now. When trying to answer the original question that we stated at the very beginning of this discussion, who is the new AI powered professional, I think we all agree here, at least that's what I'm catching from what you're saying, that it's still you still need to be a skilled software engineer to be able to use AI powered tooling effectively. But then there are skills that you can put on top. Maybe there are some things that you need to reshape a little bit, especially in terms of communication and kind of putting together your instructions. Maybe there's a slightly different way to do it towards like language models, for example. And yeah, just simply interesting times to be in and to see how it's changing the world around us, and so dynamically changing. I don't remember a time when things were changing so rapidly around us when it comes to IT as they are now, with AI being present here and there, right? All right.
Yes.
All right, great. Well, thank you for being our guest today. Thank you for a very interesting discussion. I'd love to continue even more. There are so many topics that I would love to discuss even more with you, but we're running out of time now. So thanks for sharing your thoughts. Thanks for your insights. Really appreciate it that you joined us today. Thank you for being my guests here. Enjoy your afternoon. I hope you had a great discussion. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Have a great
Bye
day.
bye.
Bye.